What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to episode 66 of our Road to Glory career mode. We're back for another episode. Today you're going to be watching a few games. One of them will be played against Manchester United in the Carabao Cup semi-final first legs. But I've got to say this right now, I am thoroughly enjoying the World Cup. Hopefully you guys are as well. I have seen every game so far, not missed a goal. I plan to keep it that way. We'll see how far I get with that little ambition. But regardless, today's episode will involve a huge signing in the transfer front and also a few other things as well. So stay tuned, see what happens. But the first game, we end up simming it against Spurs. They're doing pretty well. They always seem to do well whenever you play career mode. They're up there at the moment, but we did actually come away with a 2-1 victory. Shaqiri missing a penalty during the game, which would have actually put Spurs in front. So on another day, if he'd have scored that, maybe Spurs come away with the victory. But still, we got the 3 points, we got the 2-1 win, and we started off with a victory. So we then moved out of that one into the first game that I actually played, which was Leicester City at the King Power Stadium. Another team doing very well indeed in the Premier League. They find themselves within the top 4. So definitely a force to be reckoned with, and I've got to give them the utmost respect during this one. Especially going to their ground can always be quite tough, but we've got a strong team, as you know. There is the confirmation that they are in the top 4 currently, chasing that Champions League spot. Top scoring teams, we're back and flying. I said right at the start of this season, I was a little bit worried with the way we started. We weren't hitting the heights as much as we were in the previous one. I think between our front 3 last season, we had an abundance of goals, upwards in like the 50 stages. But this season, not so much. But we are back to kind of scoring free-flowing football, and it's good to see. This one, though, against Leicester, they had the first opportunity, missed it. And within the second half, we went forward with Jose Gaya, laying it through to Fratchak. And the pole got on the end of it. And with his left foot, fired it in off the post for his 8th Premier League goal since joining from Bayern Munich. There was an interesting comment as well in the last episode, coming from Stuart Timon. I hope I got your name right, mate. But he said that Fratchak is actually a pre-gen of Lewandowski, which is apparently super rare. It's basically apparently where the game glitches out, and before he actually retires, they put the like regen, pre-gen into the game. So thank you for that knowledge, man, because I didn't actually know that until you put the comment. So thank you for that. So maybe, after all, Fratchak is the next Lewandowski, pretty much. Although he's still in the game, and of course we faced him over at Bayern earlier, he is showing why he is capable of taking over from the reins of Lewandowski. And now, he set up the second for El Ghazi. So a goal and an assist from our super pole, as I'll call him from now on. And with 9 minutes left at the King Power Stadium, we had got 2-0 in front. And surely we're heading for the 3 points. Now, I've got to say this, right? I looked at our team this season going into it, and I thought this one might be quite tough because we won the treble last season. To follow up from that, it's, of course, going to take something special. I thought the chances are we're probably not going to get the treble again. But our midfield, it's solid. Barso Villar, he's playing unbelievably well. I'm kind of glad, as I said previously, that £65 million move to Sociedad never went through. We've got Evans, who's growing pretty nicely, and alongside that, Grujic has just been a rock since he joined us from Liverpool on that free transfer. So, midfield-wise, we're looking pretty good. Going forward, our front 3 seem to be back on form, back in firing. Of course, Fratchak's 8th goal of the season for the league, and an assist as well. Shows why we paid the £27 million fee for him. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the team, but this is where it brings me on to my next point. I feel like we need one massive marquee signing. I want to sign somebody who's just, you know, like 90 rated or something crazy that's worth 70, 80 million pounds. That is one of the objectives we've got to do before we end the series off. So that's going to be the aim that I'm going to try and go for. Whether or not I'm able to do that, we'll have to wait and see. I do have a huge signing joining us, though, in today's video. Unfortunately, it is on a pre-contract. You'll have to wait and see who that is. It's maybe not a player you're expecting to see, especially as we are so far into career mode. At this point, a lot of the world's best players will be on the verge of retiring. So, yeah, little spoiler for you there. But we move into this next game. Crew 2, Watford 0 at this point. We managed to find a third. El Ghazi getting his second of the afternoon as Barso Villar picked up an injury, which would actually keep him out for 7 weeks after this one. So, not ideal, considering the fact that we already had Rodriguez injured as well, I do believe, up until that point. So it meant that Oxford comes back into the team at the CDM role. Grujic pushes up a little bit, and we have Evans alongside him. So that's the only issue with our midfield. As good as it is, squad depth-wise, we're slightly inept in that position, especially considering the fact with the 2 injuries to Rodriguez, and now Barso Villar, we're having to play Evans, Grujic, and Oxford. You know, Oxford at the moment, he's being deployed as a CDM. We've used him there so many times. So it's not like he's out of position or whatever. But still, it would have been nice to have my strongest midfield. So I decided to play this one against Sunderland. Although they're not the biggest threat in the Premier League, they're actually a mid-table side at this time. And they've actually got a decent-ish side. Not a lot of, like, world-class players, But in terms of a team, it's an okay, you know, all-rounded squad. Man United as well, I've got to say this, they are struggling this season in the Prem. So going into that game later on in the Carabao Cup, I'm feeling pretty confident against them. Even more so that El Ghazi scored inside 11 minutes at the Stadium of Light. Evans' assist, and this finish was quality from Anwar. It's what we're used to seeing from him, and that's why I brought him over. Of course, the hero of FIFA 17. He wasn't the same player this year, but he's still shown sparks of that brilliance that we saw from him in last year's game, and he's doing it again for us now, so a fantastic finish. But I'm not really sure what to tell you when this happened. Lee Catamol, I swear, shouldn't he have retired by now? I don't know how on earth he's still playing football. We are 5-6 seasons in. He lays the ball across, and Asoro puts it into the back of the empty net. Well, I say empty, there was a keeper there, but there's not a lot Green can do when it's a tap-in like that. Sunderland equalised, but I just looked at this goal, and there was so much wrong with it from our perspective. Firstly, Catamol should not be getting that ball across when Marco Grujic is marking him. That's my first problem. The second one is, what is Florian Haas doing? He doesn't get anywhere near the ball, doesn't get anywhere near Asoro, and he's free to put the ball into the back of the net. So I was very frustrated with that goal, and to be 1-1 in this game, I honestly didn't know how that was a thing. We moved into the second, where we picked up a penalty in the 66th minute. Now, I've got to say this, very, very hard done by, and I feel like McNair's, you know, complaints to the referee there, they were justified, because that, to me, was not a penalty. He won the ball. I'll take it, of course, because of the fact that I'm needing to get back in front here. But if that was given against me, I would be so angry with the referee. Now, at this point, let me say this. Fratchak was on. He started the game, but at half-time, it just was not working for the Polish striker, so I swapped him out and brought on Donis. Usually, it would have been Fratchak taking those spot kicks. It just so happens that Donis missed the penalty. So maybe a bad decision from me to make that change happen. But with 15 minutes left on the clock, El Ghazi's knocked down, Donis' finish, and the change had worked brilliantly. He missed the penalty, but he redeemed himself. Oh boy, did he. What a finish this is from the forward. I've got to say as well, he doesn't have much of a look in this season, but when he does play, he always seems to come in clutch. Lovely first touch of his left foot, and then he smashes it home with the right. Take a look at that again. Through the legs of the defender. So unlucky for the goalkeeper, but at the Stadium of Light, it was this. Sunderland 1, Crewe Alexandra 2. And I mean, in hindsight, I'd say that was a fair result. You know, we dominated the game here. Sunderland really only had that one chance with Asoro and it went in, so I felt a little bit hard done by. But still, to get away and get a break on like this in the 90th minute, Calvert-Lewin trying to be intricate with his finish. Unfortunately, though, didn't get it right. Over the top of the crossbar, the referee brought it to a close, and we did actually get the victory. So it was quite hard fought, but at least we got the result. That's the only thing I guess we could say that are the positives. Not too happy the way we conceded the goal, but at the same time, you know, as I said, not a lot you can do when the ball's perfect from Catamol and Asoro's there to finish it. I've got a little bit of doubts about, you know, Florian Haas, and I don't know who should be partnering Ezri Konsa, because right now Ezri Konsa's definitely our most informed centre-back, and definitely the player that I'm, you know, number one on my team sheet. But in terms of his partner, Haas takes it for rating, but overall performances suggest that he probably shouldn't be playing alongside him. Maybe centre-back is where we need to bring in that world-class player. Definitely think that is a possibility. I brought one in, of course, in the Celta Vigo save, so maybe I need to do the same here with Crewe. But the next one against Swansea City was at home, so I decided to go ahead and actually sim this one, see if we could pick up the victory. El Ghazi started off very well, getting us the lead in the 43rd minute, and I'm pretty sure that that Hill there on the bench for Swansea is Reece Hill, none other than the player that we actually sold, not this season, the season before, in order to let him leave because he wanted game time. So quite strange to see the fact that potentially, even though he left us to join a team to get game time, he's still on the bench over at Swansea. Don't quote me, because I can't remember where he left to join, so I might be wrong. But if it was Swansea, then it's him, and he's still sat on the bench anyways. This one, controversial. Frank Voss, the man who was brought into the world of football by Crewe Alexandra and let go because the offer was correct and right, I felt, from a team in the previous seasons. And at the time, we were going for this English kind of vibe, where we'd have all of our English players. So I sold him. But there was a comment in an episode gone by that I thought, you know what, let's have a look. So Frank Voss, of course, joined us when he was so young. We tried to get him into the first team action, wasn't really cutting it in the terms of physicals. We let him go. This season, Isaac Martin is not happy with the contribution that he's having to the game. He doesn't feel like he's getting enough game time. So I decided to try and make that deal happen, but unfortunately they wanted Isaac Martin and way too much money. So I decided against it in the end. But take a look at this. One man who I did want to join us here at Crew was Antoine Griezmann. 31 years of age at this point, 88 rated, still playing for Atletico Madrid. And as you can see right here, we were able to negotiate a contract, and the Frenchman will join us for 3 years at the ground. Now, the problem with this, in many ways, is the fact that he's 31. And chances are, when he comes to us, he's probably not going to be 88 rated anymore. But I just felt like, for the series, for the way that it is, I've never played with Griezmann in a career mode before. I just kind of wanted to bring him in and try him out and see what he's got. Of course, this is towards the back end of his career, so the chances are he's not going to be as good as he would at his peak. But it's still a huge, huge capture for us as a team. And imagine how many shirts he will sell next season. Having Antoine Griezmann in your side is not something that every team is able to say. So I'm so happy to get that capture done. I think it's a huge bit of business. Hopefully you guys agree with me, and hopefully you're excited to see him next season playing in a Croix Alexandra shirt. Most likely will wear that number 7. Reece Nelson currently has it, but of course, if Griezmann comes, he's got to wear that number 7, surely. So that is the first major addition to the team for next season. He will join us at the end of the season, of course, as it is a pre-contract agreement. Then we had a game against Hull City in the FA Cup 4th round. I'm not really interested in this, although we are the holders. I'd quite happily lose this. The only ambition this season is the Carabao Cup. I know I said that last episode and I never expected to say it, but still, that is what we're going for. Having not won it yet in the series, we're trying to do it. So it's great to get through in the FA Cup, but at this point, I'm just not even bothered. So when Delgado scored, and then we ended up getting a second through Donis before they got a late one to win it 2-1, I was like, great, but ultimately not really that bothered. Player of the Year being announced, it went to Kylian Mbappe of Real Madrid at this point. I can understand why, but still, I felt so hard done by because Manager of the Year went to AS Monaco's manager. Yeah, didn't even want it at all, did I? But still, you know, winning the Champions League, winning the FA Cup, winning the Premier League, with a team like we had at Crew, I felt that deserved a shout. But listen, I didn't get given it. None of my players were even, I guess, considered for Player of the Year. But hey, listen, we'll call the media biased. How about that? But still, we know what we did. We can have our plaudits. We'll just have to deal with it and accept the fact that we're clearly not good enough for Manager of the Year. But we move into the final game now at Old Trafford, the first leg of the Carabao Cup semi-finals. I'm really excited for this one because Man United, historically, have been pretty difficult for me to play against. I seem to always struggle with Druisi as well. He's a striker that seems to score against me more often than not. So going into game, confidence was high because we've been playing well. And of course, United, this is their only realistic aim at a trophy this season, potentially, if they keep playing the way they are. So for them, it's going to be an important game. And I'm not exaggerating when I say this. The first 30 minutes, we spent camped in Manchester United's half. Fully camped. We should have scored through Tarkowski, who hit a free header straight at David De Gea, but we did find the net in the 31st minute. Isaac Martin, the man who complains because he doesn't get enough game time, he was the man to open up the scoring, and rightfully so, because we had so much pressure leading up to this that it was one of those situations where with all the pressure, if we didn't score from it, we probably would have conceded straight away. So to get the goal was important, and of course, being the away leg and playing at Old Trafford first, it means that we get this one over and done with. If we can get a victory from it, fantastic. If not, we'll just have to beat them at our ground and make your home a fortress, as they would say. And very much so, we dominated this game. I was really happy with the boys. The way they played was sensational. Guriccia feeding Nelson. The driven shot gets us 2-0 in front with 15 minutes left on the clock. The overall control, the overall play, the way we dominated Manchester United, didn't let them have much of a look in, especially with a side that I would have said, although it's not my strongest, it's still really good. A few players who maybe wouldn't get in the normal starting 11, they played very well, and I had to give credit where it was due. But then, typical fashion, we play unbelievably well for 80 minutes of a game, control it completely. We don't concede any chances, and then with 10 minutes left, they whip a hopeful ball in towards the back post. Guedes rises above Gaia, and Manchester United get a goal back. So, although we spent 80 minutes completely battering Manchester United, having all of the ball and keeping it away from our goal, we still conceded. And that could prove to be a very important goal indeed. We did hold on for the 2-1 win, but moving into the second leg, we are going to be 2-1 in front. As long as we don't concede, we are going to make it through to a Carabao Cup final. But I still felt like that goal that we conceded might be important. One shot for Man United, one on target, one goal. Yeah, Typical Crew Alexandra fashion. Before the episode ends off, though, we had a chance to sign one more player ahead of next season. I chose it to be Lewis Cook, the English midfielder, keeping in with the English vibe. 84 rated at this point. He'll definitely come in and be a starter for us. And then it'll add a little bit more squad depth to the team as well. So next season, again, our midfield is strong. Grujic, Cook, Evans, Barso Villa. You never know. Barso Villa might be like 86, 87 rated at that point. It's going to be a good season again next season. I'm really excited as well for the arrival of Antoine Griezmann. Hopefully you guys are on top of that one. But if you have enjoyed today's episode, a like would be greatly appreciated. As always, guys, thank you so much for all of your support on the channel. I really do appreciate it. I say it all the time. If you are new around here and like what you see, the subscribe button is down below, so you can click that and never miss an upload. Alongside that is a notification bell. Same with that one. Click it. You'll be notified when a video goes live, and you can tune in and catch it. But guys, I'll see you all for another video later on tonight. Enjoy your World Cup day. Catch you all again soon. Adios.